So these 40 lines comes from The Black Cat. This is taken from halfway through the story where we have this occurrence of, we've already known the character, the narrator, it's narrated in the first person. So the voice, we don't know the voice's name, and I guess it's not important either. And we have a mention of his wife. What we can see here is that this was just after he had come home drunk one day and he stabbed, you remember he stabbed the cat's eyes, so the cat has one eye now. Okay, and the fact that this cat in particular is leaving, this, he's accepting this, the narrator, we have here in line 3 a clear characterization, the acceptance that he actually did something to this cat. So it wasn't that it was provoked, that he accepts that he destroyed the one that I had destroyed. Okay, so and the fact of line 5, slow degrees, the repetition of this particular of degrees, it's adding a continuity. So it's continuing his pain, the fact that for a long time he reasoned to struggle to reject his fanciful. So for a long time he continued to reason, he tried to figure out what was going on in his mind. In lines 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12, look at the diction. We have shudder, loathed, dreaded, monster, hideous, ghastly, gallows, horror, crime, agony, and death. All of these particular words, it's interesting how the choice of words, okay? We have gallows, we have ghastly. Gallows is, it was in the past how people were hung, and as we know, the narrator is going to be hung at the end of the story. So it's foreshadowing what is to come. Okay, this diction is full of hate, full of darkness, full of death. Typical themes found in the romantic period, specifically in Gothic fiction, such as what Poe writes. So we have also, remember that the choice of words that he uses to describe the cat, okay, he's terrified of this cat. It was now the representation of an object that I shudder to name. He couldn't even name the cat. He was very terrified of this cat. So in line 14 we have, and a brute beast. So this particular alliteration helps us to understand the helps us to really feel the pain of the narrator. A brute beast. It's very difficult to say it faster, so it makes the alliteration, makes us stop and pronounce it correctly, causing the reader to focus on the choice of words. And then again it repeats, a brute beast. So he's emphasizing how this cat affected him. Okay, then in line 15 and 16 we can see characterization. For me, a man fashioned in the image of the high God. We can see how he saw himself as pure, as, he's comparing himself to the image of the high God. So he doesn't think that he is less than any other person. And yet for him, how is it possible that this cat actually affected him so much? It caused him so much pain that in line 17, alas, neither by day nor by night knew I the blessing of rest anymore. This man, we see that the mental deterioration that he's going through. We can no longer see a man who is stable. He hasn't been able to sleep. So what's causing him to lose sleep? The cat. How is it that a cat can cause this man to lose sleep? Is causing, as you can see, mental instability. We knew from the beginning his affection for cats, for animals, was kind of particular, was too strong maybe for like a regular person, but now it's like reinforced the idea that a cat will not allow him to sleep. So what was he terrified of? He was terrified that the cat would suffocate him. So I started hourly from dreams of unutterable fear to find the hot breath of the thing upon my face. So he was terrified that the cat would, appear to him. And in lines 20 and 21, incarnate nightmare. There's an expression that's called the devil incarnate, meaning somebody who is just as bad as the devil. It's quite a strong image that we have here, and he's comparing a cat to the devil. In lines 21 and 22, we can see incumbent eternally upon my heart. He had no power to shake off. He was in his heart. This is a metaphor saying how terrified he was. He couldn't move. He couldn't decide anything. He was just there waiting. So in lines 22, 23, and 24, we still have more characterization. Beneath a pressure torment such as these, feeble remnant of the good within me succumbed. Evil thoughts became my sole intimates, the darkest and most evil of thoughts. So the character is starting to change and he's becoming evil. He himself recognizes that he has this. Okay? So 26, again, hatred, exasperate, madness, goaded, demonical, rage. These choice of words to describe the certain situations show anger, hate, a madness that is so strong that it's demonical. It's demon-like. He can't control it. In lines 26, 27, 28, 29, we have a characterization, and it's interesting. An ungovernable outburst of a fury which I know blindly abandoned myself. I now blindly abandoned myself. So he just let go. He was controlling all of this darkness that he had within him, and he now blindly abandoned it. So he was abandoned to himself. My uncomplaining wife, alas, was the most usual and the most patient of sufferers. So we can see that his temper, his reactions affected the wife, and she never complained. So we have a quite complacent wife. Nowadays, probably would be this would be a situation of domestic violence where the woman just sits and takes it. So most patient of sufferers. So he does suggest that his wife, was patient, but also suffered. And here's where we get to the strength of the extract. Okay, now he starts to tell the story as it goes of what really happened. The reason why he's going to be hanged is this. One day she accompanied me upon some household errand into the cellar of the old building which our poverty compelled us to inhabit. So he's complaining, about the fact that he now lives in poverty, and they have to live in this horrible old cellar. So remember, the cellars are closed, confined places, another typical theme of Gothic literature. So in lines 31, the cat followed me down the steep stairs, and nearly throwing my headlong exasperated me to madness. Okay, so to madness. It's the cat that followed me down, that I almost fell, that I lost. Remember that he had abandoned himself to this whole outburst of fury. So now he was uncontrollable. He uplifting an axe. So we have this visual imagery of us seeing a man lifting an axe, and forgetting in my wrath the childish dread that had hitherto stayed my hand. So he completely forgot everything. I aimed a blow at the animal. So he aimed. This is not just rage. This is also meditated. He's thinking, I'm going to kill this animal. He lifts his, the axe to kill this animal, which we know, of course, would have killed him. But unfortunately, the wife stepped in, but this blow was arrested by the hand of my wife. So his wife defended the cat, which only made the narrator madder. So goaded by this interference in a rage, and it was more than just demon-like. He was possessed. I withdrew my arms, so he removed his arms and buried the axe in her brain. The expression "buried the axe in her brain" is quite strong. We see that there's a passion here to kill this wife, but he never mentioned that he killed his wife. He says, bury the axe in her brain, removing completely the person. So the fact that he's just thinking of her as a body no longer his dear wife. She fell dead upon the spot without a groan. So she died instantly without a groan. So we feel this complete and utter silence.